Hello, beautiful souls. How are you doing today? This is Terry Shaw from Terry Shaw Inspires. Today we are starting our very first episode of the Way of the Goddess series. The Way of the Goddess series is a different type of show compared to Creators Inspires if you've been following me for a while. This is going to focus on, hi Anthony Juan, thank you for joining. This is going to focus on different ways that you can use your goddess energy to manifest what you want. Now, I'm going to be going over different things about, what is a goddess energy? How do you know you are in your goddess energy? And practical tools to align yourself with that energy so that you can, as I said, manifest anything that you want. It's also very important that you tap within. And when I mean tap within, I'm not talking about tapping yourself on the shoulder. I'm talking about getting in tune with the truth of who you are on a daily basis. This is how you are gonna open up the doors to a new level of yourself. Hi, Curl Confident. Thank you for joining. Hi, beautiful. That's my girl right there. She's awesome. And so the goddess energy is something that's super important because for a long time, we've all been in our masculine energy, and the human body, the human energy force is a balance between the masculine and the feminine. And, over the years, we have been constantly on the go, being in our masculine energy, using more of the logical mind instead of the intuitive nature of ourselves, which is aligned to the goddess energy. We've constantly allowed things outside of our external environment to change the way how we see ourselves or the way we address our emotions. We've become more of a reactor than an observer. And so the reason why I created the Way of the Goddess series is because I wanted to teach you. And it took a long time for me to get into that tune of myself, understanding, how do I tap into my feminine energy? Because this is the goddess energy. It's your feminine energy. And everyone, hi, namaste. Hi, Cassandra. Thank you for joining, girls. Oh, we got some goddesses in the house today. We got some goddesses. And so, it's the way how you use the energy of the power of the feminine within. The masculine energy is also important, but when you are in overdrive, there is a tipping of the scale. And thank you, Cassandra. There's a tipping of the scale, and that scale can become out of balance if you don't tip the scales back into balance, right? So here we are, too much masculine energy. This is why we are always on the go. No time to take time to connect with ourselves. No time to connect with the people around us. And this is just constant going and going. Whereas in the feminine energy, the left side of yourself is being slowly depleted or suppressed, right? We are being suppressed. That energy is so suppressed that we forgot how to unlock or unleash certain power with us, right? We've been told the way to manifest is to always work hard. And it's not entirely true because that's the concept of the masculine energy. Yes, you do have to put the work in, but there's also a level of understanding how you attract things into your life by using the power of your goddess energy to attract better versus keep pushing and going and trying to move forward because this is just how society says you should do it. Hi, Shauna. Oh, another goddess. We have all goddesses here right now. I have so many goddesses in my life right now. So, thank you so much for joining in. And I'm just so thankful for, being able to create this series because we are in a time where we have to learn to reconnect with the power within ourselves, because that power, that driving force is going to allow us to move forward on a path different from the old way of living, the old way of creating things, the old way of letting things in, right? So we are attractors. We are magnetic. We are also electric. And we are going to use that electricity and that magnet energy to attract everything that we need, because we need to know how to use the goddess. Now, the goddess energy, right? First thing we know, it is our intuitive nature. The masculine energy is connected to our logical side. It's the understanding that we have to do things the logical way, the way that we've been taught by society how to, make plans, and then based on what someone else is doing, we'll follow that source of action, and we sometimes go against our intuitive nature. The feminine energy, the goddess energy, is all about the way we use our gut rather than our head. We have two brains. We have our brain, and we have our gut brain. So when you are doing something and you feel it's not right, you're going against your gut brain, right? You are using your brain because this is how you've been taught to, it makes sense. The studies back it. The science backs it, right? Science is important. It's all part of the balance. But when we go against our intuitive nature, we find ourselves in a world of trouble, a world of disappointment, and a world of too much expectations, because things did not go out the way we planned because we went against our gut, right? And this is how we're going to reconnect back with our gut. We're going to start feeding our gut with the right energy, the energy of positive words. Positive words are important. I believe in positivity, but too much positivity, there has to be a balance, because that negativity is sometimes needed as well, so we can know when to push and when to not push. It's also about, as above, so below. The energy of the sun versus the moon, the energy of the left versus right, the energy of receiving and giving. It's all about reciprocation. There are people out there who are givers, and they have good hearts, and they don't understand why, they're not receiving anything back, because you're depleting your feminine energy. That energy that tells you, okay, I'm going to selectively give to certain people, because it's not just about give because it's going to come back to you. It's giving and knowing when to give. And, are you giving to a way it's going to benefit you in the long run? Because not all giving is the right path, right? And this is how you kind of understand how the goddess energy, the feminine energy, works. The goddess energy also is your intuitive nature. It does involve the ego as well. The ego, oh boy, the ego has such a bad rap. It has such a bad rap because we've allowed it to run around in the forest just being wild and free. There is nothing wrong with the ego. I use it all the time, to be quite honest. I know when to keep my ego in check, and I know when to use it. So to keep your ego in check where you feel like you're bringing someone down, or you feel like you're becoming too prideful, or you're becoming too powerful over someone else, this is where you need to keep your ego in check. But if you are in a situation where something else is not working out for you, or people are abusing you or using you, this is now when you're going to wake up that ego, and you're going to start doing things for yourself. So it's balance. Like Curl Fident said, yin and yang, absolutely, yin and yang. It's all about the balance. So the whole purpose of the goddess energy is to know that balance, know when to stay neutral, know that there is no right or wrong. It's really how you view things, how you react, how you process your emotions, no matter what the environment you're in. There are people who are going to be triggering you, and when you're in your goddess energy, yes, they could say whatever they want, but the truth of the matter is that you know yourself, and you know how you're going to respond, right? So another example of using your goddess energy. So say for instance, it's like you're going into a new relationship, right? And oh gosh, you see this guy, I'm talking to the ladies out there, vice versa. You see someone, you like them, they look, so handsome. They tick everything off the box, and your logical mind, your masculine mind is saying, okay, I'm gonna talk to this person because, they have a good job, they tick everything off the box. you know, they make good money, but your intuitive nature is saying there's something off about this person. And you go against that intuitive nature of yourself and you end up in a relationship, it's going off fine, and then suddenly the tables turn. All of a sudden, the true nature of this person is coming out, and you forget all about the time when they don't even look good anymore. They're handsome on the outside, but when you look at them on the inside, they're ugly. You know, the money don't even matter anymore. There are, you know, it's a manipulative, narcissistic, abusive relationship, and it just doesn't work for you anymore. And it's because you kind of went against your goddess energy. You knew intuitively from the get-go that there was something off, but the logical side of yourself saying that, you know, they tick the boxes, they make everything, it looks right, it looks like what you should be in, right? Because it makes sense to your mind, but it wasn't sense to your gut, right? And so the point is, the way of the goddess is all about how to utilize your intuitive energy, know when something is for you and something is not for you, regardless of what it looks like from the outside. You have to feel into a situation, feel into your environment, listen to what your stomach is telling you, and literally what your stomach is telling you, because usually when something is off, we feel that knot in our stomach that says, no, don't go that path. It's like a fight or flight response, and it's scientifically backed. It's something that, you know, we should definitely think about when we enter any situation. Now, so another part of the goddess energy is to, you know, we're sensitive. So all you sensitive people out there, I'm super sensitive. I can go into an environment and I feel like anxiety or rush of fear, and it you know, sometimes crowded places, I feel like clustered and whatnot, and I'm not sure how to deal with it. And sometimes it has nothing to do with you. It could be just be the environment that you're in. It could be a stressful, toxic environment, and it could deplete your energy without you having to do anything. Just standing in that space, you know, like you said. And it's often how your goddess energy tells you what's right for you and what you should do and how you should move forward. Don't get me wrong though, because there are also pros and cons to using too much of your goddess energy, because if you continually follow your intuitive nature, what can also happen is that you may read into things too much and overthink, because then that side of your brain kicks in with your intuitive nature and you're not even sure if it's something you should really do or not, so you start second guessing yourself. So, you know, it's just the flow of being human. You know, knowing when to go and when to stop, and knowing when to find that balance, and we cannot live without that balance. But the reason for being in our goddess energy is because we have to find that balance in scale. We just too much in our masculine energy, too much doing, too much going, too much. The mind has taken control over our lives. Sometimes with mostly negative thoughts because of what we see in our environment. The goddess energy is all about knowing when things are going to work out for you regardless of whatever is happening. And so this is what we're here to do. Now, what are some of the ways that you can get into this energy? This is important. For those of you who exercise is a perfect way to tap into that goddess energy. I dance every morning, believe it or not. I get up and sometimes I have like 3 different Michael Jackson songs playing and I'm just dancing my butt off. I kick my feet. I make sure I focus the energy within my gut. I wind my waistline and I get into it. And I just make sure that I am, you know, revving that power up to start my day. You know, these are some of the ways that you can get that energy going, because dancing is so powerful. Dancing, you know, it's the body language of the soul, I want to call it. It's the body language of the soul. It gets your energy moving. It gets the chi in your body, and chi means energy in Chinese. it gets your body flowing, get the energy flowing through your bodies, all through your lymphatic system, your adrenal system, which manages stress. And for those of you who know how stress works, when there's too much cortisol, it can really deplete your body, and you have to constantly find ways to bring it back in balance. Constantly, because this world sometimes is out of balance, but you have to find your own individual way to definitely bring it back in balance, right? And another thing you can do is journal. I love journaling, right? I have to admit, I don't do it every morning, but when I do get the chance, I do journal, and I do a gratitude journal. And I just wake up and I just thank God for everything. And even if I don't get a chance to write it out, I also just say it in my mind or my thoughts. As soon as I open my eyes, I say, oh, thank you, God, for everything. It brings you back into perspective. It brings you back to yourself. It brings you back to the present moment and the reason why you are here. Because we are so focused on the future and so stuck on the past that we forget the present moment and what we have and what we have in that moment. Because what we have is what's important and what's now. And what's now is where our power lies, right? It's not in the future. It's not in the past. Our power lies in the now. And this is what the goddess energy is about. So yes, journaling is more grounded and going into a deeper part of me. So yes, this is also true. Yes, Curlfident. It's journaling is awesome. It's amazing. And for those of you who are considering writing a book, journaling is the first start to it. And you have so much stories, so much you want to tell. Share your story. Do that, because you just never know who may need to hear it. And where your words can help someone else, right? Another thing which is also important is dreaming. I am an avid dreamer. I am a very vivid dreamer as well. Like, I would dream things and they will happen the next day. And I would dream things, like have premonitions and stuff like that. And they will happen exactly how I dream it. And when you go to bed at night, one thing you can do is to also set an intention to remember your dreams. Have a dream journal so you can write it down the next morning, because there are always bits of pieces of information that's helping you along the way. And that's where your goddess energy reaches out to you and say, this is the path that you need to take, or this path is not the right way, and this is how this path is going to be. And that's how I've kind of lived my life I can tell you, for the past 33 years. And I don't have dreams, or just don't remember them at all. Yeah, Curlfident, it's some people say they don't have dreams. You actually do. Everyone dreams. Some people are more receptive of their dreams than others. What a good thing you can do is definitely set an intention, like I said, in night, to remember your dreams. If you want to be shown something in your dream, you can do that. It takes a little while to get into that, but set the intention every night and it will manifest itself. Another thing with dreams is that you have to understand that your conscious mind goes to bed with you, but your subconscious mind is always working even in your dream state. So it's important what you do before you go to bed, and it's important what you do when you wake up. So you have to make sure you train your subconscious mind to remember certain things, to train it to dream. You can train your subconscious mind to dream. It will tell you the things that you need to know, because everything is buried in that 90% side of yourself that you don't know about. And a lot of the emotions that we process are sometimes coming from our subconscious mind, and we can reprogram that. We can change that. We can tell it something different, a different story than whatever we are repeating in our lifestyle. You can give it something different. And as I said, it's so important before you go to bed, set intentions, read a book, try not to be on your phone a lot or listen to negative news, because you carry that into your dream state. You carry those emotions into your dream state, and sometimes you have nightmares or sleep paralysis, and you're not sure what it's coming from. It could be from whatever information that you fed yourself that same night before you go to bed, right? And another important thing is so important, quieting your mind. I'm going to put quiet in quotation because it's not easy to quiet the mind, right? Even when you're meditating, for those of you who are a big meditator, I'm a big meditator. I meditate every morning. It's not easy to quiet the mind. The mind is always constantly going. So you could be in a state of meditation and then suddenly you're thinking about, oh, that chicken that I had last night was so great. Or, oh, I wonder if I do this in the morning, then maybe I'll set my day going right. Like, these are some of the things that goes through my mind when I meditated. And then, and you know, you want to slap yourself and say, stop that. But no, that's not what meditation is. Meditation really is about being in the present moment and understanding that these thoughts are going to come up, and how you react to these thoughts when they do come up is so important. Like when my thoughts come up, I try to say, oh, thank you, you know, and I bring myself back into the present moment. I sometimes imagine, like, you know, myself in a bubble of light, like an embryo. And at night, you know, when I do meditate at night, I feel like I'm going in that embryo. And in the morning, I come out of that embryo. Like I'm being reborn every day. Because every night we go to sleep and we wake up the next day, we are being reborn. This is the cycle. We are being reborn. And so, you know, when you meditate and those thoughts come up and you're trying to quiet those traffic jam of thoughts, you know, telling you that you're not good enough, or something's telling that you're good enough. And, you know, it's just confusing sometimes. Honor those thoughts because they are a part of who you are, but they don't have control over who you are, right? So that's a key difference. They are a part of who you are. I'm going to say that again, but they have no control over who you are. And this is the differentiation. This is important to know. This is so important to know, and how you are going to definitely, you know, move forward with how you meditate, right? And another important, there's so many different ways to tap in your goddess energy, but these are some of the things that I do that I'm sharing with you. Visualization. I'm a Pisces and I live in a dream state all the time. My whole world is daydreaming. I daydream about even the silliest things sometimes, but you know, and I have to remember to come back to reality. But the key thing about having that energy of visualizing is that you're always manifesting when you're visualizing. When you see yourself certain places or going going a certain direction, visualize that you're already there. Visualize that it already happened and it will happen. I'm going to share a story. 3 months ago, or I should say 4 months ago, I was visualizing myself 2 years from now in my own home, right? And I wasn't sure what that looked like. I wasn't sure. I had no expectations of when it was going to happen, but I kept visualizing. I just saw myself in my own home, and I wrote down, journal everything that I needed exactly. And I can tell you right now, I'm sitting in my own home that I purchased 3 months after I started visualizing. 3 months later, not 2 months, 2 years later, but 3 months later, because I visualized it and I decided to act on it and I manifested it because of my constant visualization and my constant putting my energy and my focus into it. And yes, fear arose. Fear came up because it was a very crazy time trying to purchase a house. There were bidding wars, there were things that were happening, but I gave those away. I surrendered the control. And I decided that, you know, my partner and I, when we're going in this, we are just going to let go and let the universe take the driving seat. And we didn't enter any bidding wars. So we got our first offer and everything went smoothly. It's very smooth. And I said, you know, I had to reflect on that in 2020. And I said, you know, a lot of that came from my act of visualizing. I visualized where I wanted to go. I visualized what I really wanted. And that's what manifested. So when you are visualizing, be specific and do it as often as possible. And when I mean often, day, when you're taking a bath, speaking of bath, that's another way to get into your goddess energy. Take baths. If you don't have a bath and you just have a shower, imagine yourself while you're taking a shower, taking a bath, right? back to visualization. Imagination is key. Imagine where you want to be. Imagine that it's already done. Don't worry about the details and the in-betweens of how it's going to happen. Just know that it's already done, right? And those are some of the ways that I have been able to tap into my goddess energy, and I'm sharing them with everyone. The next episodes that I'll be doing is going to go more in depth on each of these different type of things that I do on a daily basis, like dancing and visualizing. Having a vision board is so important, you know. These things may sound like, I don't know, kids' dreams to people, but they work, right? The idea of being that kid's dream is going back to basics, right? We are living in a complex society, but the key thing is to keep things simple and focus your energy on where you want to go and how you want to live and how you want to feel in your body. You know, if you're going through health issues, how do you see yourself being healthy? What does healthy looks like to you? Visualize it, actualize on it, realize it. These are so key and important, right? And so we've talked about the goddess energy and how to do that. It's all about, the balance, being neutral, staying in both your masculine and your feminine energy, but never allowing the masculine to outweigh the feminine energy. You have to balance it. And how do you know you're in a goddess energy? As I mentioned, it's all about how you're feeling, right? You are more of an observer than a reactor. So become more of an observer and not a reactor to everything that's happening around you. Some things are out of your control, and you have to bring them back into what you can control in that moment. And the tools that I've mentioned, we talked about dancing as a form of exercise. We talked about visualizing, journaling, what did I say? About attracting. I lost my train of thought. We talked about attracting and these different things. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to make a question in the comments and I'll be sure to answer. I would just love to hear your feedback. How are you tapping into your goddess energy? This is so key and important. And the goddess energy, doesn't matter if you're a male or a female, it's all about how you are living, your perception of reality, how you are treating your emotions, and how you are taking care of yourself. And this is how you are going to create the life that you want. And it doesn't happen overnight. This is 3 years for me, actually going 4 years in the making. And it took a lot of, work, inspired work, I want to say. Not hard work, but more inspired work. I was inspired to create this energy. I was inspired to be where I want to be. And it's important that you feel inspired and not push, because this is not a competition. This is about how you feel about where you're going, right? So thank you. If there are no comments, no questions, I will definitely see everyone back here the end of February, the Way of the Goddess series, the 4th Sundays of every month, right? And I'll be bringing in more information, more ways that we can utilize this energy and just keep doing things that's just going to make our lives happier, more joyful, and more in tune with the universe and source. Namaste.